Hey everyone, I'm Aarti Murugan from Microsoft Azure Platform team. I'm here today to speak about how can you build and deploy containers faster with Azure Container Apps in a secure landing zone, right? So for today's topic, I have split my talk with this set of agenda. First, I will dive deeper into what is Azure Container Apps and the jobs in it, and then some of the pain points when you are building an enterprise scale landing zone, and how landing zone accelerator for Azure Container Apps can help you alleviate those pain points. And then jump into the design guidance and the reference architecture and a demo, and then we can set some time for Q&A as well. All right. So with that, I want to first ground you all with how Azure helps you while building the cloud native applications, right? So when you are on a cloud native journey, moving from your on-prem apps into a cloud native apps on your digital transformation journey, you definitely need a big set of compute layers where Azure helps you with this various set of containers, serverless, and easy to deploy web apps into Azure platform, starting with AKS, container apps, functions, and app service. We also have managed databases, and all cloud native apps should have an observability, because you need to know what's happening in your applications, right? So that's where observability options are here. And of course, security, and the latest and greatest, the AI services that comes up with the Azure OpenAI, machine learning, and the AI Studio. I'm not going to get into every one of them. Today's topic is going to be focused on this serverless containers. So let's move on to what is Azure Container Apps, right? So Azure Container Apps is basically built on top of open source technologies like Kubernetes, SCADA, Dapper, and Envoy. It is a serverless containers to help you deploy your microservices. So your focus is on building your apps, not on the infrastructure. So it helps accelerate our developers to build their microservices and containerized workloads to be deployed into Azure Container Apps in a much faster way, and take it to the market in a much faster way. And then where they want the infrastructure needs to be managed, which is managed by Azure here in this case. So now we know what is Azure Container Apps is. What can you build with that, right? So obviously, as I said, you can deploy your microservices apps, and you can expose your API endpoints, deploy your web apps and event-driven processing apps, and then background processing jobs as well. All these are run in a serverless manner inside your containers, and you can auto scale it based on different criteria that has been mentioned here. For example, you can scale it based on the number of HTTP requests, or in case of an event-driven one, you can scale it based on number of messages in your service bus, right? So there are many ways you can scale it and get the benefit of serverless here. And these are container apps, but there is also one more resource that is available as part of the Azure Container Apps is jobs. Let me take a quick move into the previous slide. So we saw here event-driven processing and then background processing jobs, but how it differs from the jobs, right? The jobs resource itself is these event-driven processing and background processing apps, which is running in the Azure Container Apps, will be run in a continuous manner, right? But there are situations where you want to run your apps, or for a task that needs to be run for a finite duration, right? That's where jobs helps us. So you can start and run it for a finite set of duration, and once that is done, it is completed and it is finished, right? So all these job executions can be started manually, or you can schedule it using cron expressions, or even you can trigger these jobs based on the event driven, like with respect to a message, or with respect to an event. So now we saw apps and jobs, and now given Azure Container Apps provides you with this Kubernetes simpler orchestration is just all managed by Azure, we have seen customers on their cloud journey experiencing some pain points with respect to, hey, how do I build this infrastructure in an enterprise scale manner, and that too in a repeatable fashion, so I don't have to build separately for test and staging an environment. Just with some configuration changes, I can have this golden infrastructure on a production grade scale, which can be done in a repeatable fashion. And how can I quickly deploy my distributed cloud native apps and also help increase, the developer velocity as well. All these pain points we are seeing, and that's where I would like to introduce about the Azure Platform Accelerators. So let's focus on the basic fundamental for when you are on the cloud, right? So you need to have some infrastructure in place with the set guardrails with respect to governance, security, and that's where enterprise scale landing zone helps you to get that infrastructure all set up. Now you got that. Okay, so how do I deploy my workload? So I have my Azure Container Apps or Kubernetes service or app service. So how do I deploy those workloads in a well streamlined manner with the set of guidelines on critical design areas, say security, monitoring, or authenticate on the identity and authentication side. So that's where the landing zone accelerator helps you with the set of guidelines, and also provides you that platform so that you deploying the apps on top of it will make it even faster for you. And now coming to specifically to the Azure Container Apps Landing Zone Accelerator, what it is, right? So this is an open source collection of design area guidance, and it comes up with a reference architecture and a reference implementation. These all have been proven and tested and authoritative, where it's an opinionated set of guidance that we have developed with our conversations based on our customer engagements, and we have helped our customers move into their accelerated production grade path, right? So the critical design area guidance covers the considerations and recommendation that you should be taking care of when you are deploying your application. And the reference architecture helps you, it covers all the compelling scenarios. Here we are going to, I'm going to show you the secure baseline scenario to start with. And then the reference implementation, that helps you with the quick start templates, right? So it comes up in a Bicep or a Terraform and ARM template. So we have a lot of options on the infrastructure as code. Also, in terms of automation, we have the GitHub Actions pipeline and the ADO pipelines all set up for you, which is coming out of the box, and you can readily make use of it. And there are a lot of deployments methodologies. I will be showing you the one-click deployment method very soon. That let's first focus on the design areas, right? So in the design area guidance, we are focusing on 4 major pillars. Like I said, the identity and access management, security, networking, and ops management side. So let's first look into the identity and access management. In this design area, we are focusing mainly on how can I plan for the authentication inside my landing zone. So there are a set of consideration and recommendations that has been put together. I want to get your focus on the managed identities here, right? So that way you can connect to other resources from your Azure Container Apps using the managed identities instead of using any service principles. So that makes the security even more stronger. And moving on to the next one is the networking side of it. So here it helps you with the set of guidelines on, hey, how should I be, be aware of the virtual network that needs to be put in place, and what should be the size. All these are provided here. And on the ops management side, the design guidance is provided on what are the limits currently in place, and what are the different tiers we can use on how can I enable my health probes so that my parts has the liveness probe, readiness probe, and startup probe, so that it is all following the resilient principles. And with that, let's move on to the last one, is the security principle, where we are focusing on provisioning this container apps in a secured baseline. That's what we will be seeing in the reference architecture and the implementation that is coming up. In the reference architecture of the landing zone accelerator, we have utilized the hub and spoke model. In the spoke, we have the workload, the container apps is deployed in the a secured subnet, and all the supporting services. For example, for your application, you may need a caching. So, you have the Azure Cache for Redis, and, to push your images, you need your Azure Container Registry, and to secure all your keys. For example, you're connecting to other resources or saving your certificates, you have this key wall. And of course, Azure OpenAI, if you are building an intelligent app, when I say intelligent app, it's nothing but, for example, a chatbot application leveraging the large language model on Azure OpenAI. Then you can use this to securely connect it from private endpoints. You can see security is top of mind for us. That's why you can see everything is protected, and with the NSGs in place. And in the ingress here, there are two options. The first option is if you're going for a single region deployment, you can utilize the app gateway and pass all your traffic via the app gateway. If you are looking for a high availability scenario where you want your applications to be highly available, then you can go for the second option, which is the multi-region option. For that, you can utilize the Azure front door with the supported WAF policies. And this one is focusing on the container apps. We also have a container apps jobs-based architecture as well. So here you can see there are 3 jobs resources that has been provisioned. And this sample clearly focuses on, one for manual, one for schedule, and one for event-based triggered. And these are the reference implementations that we have. And if you are looking for deploying your jobs deployment, what you need to do is provision the landing zone, build out the containers, push it into the Azure Container Registry, and deploy the jobs. So with that, I want to quickly stop the slideshow and show how you can provision this. Hope you all can see my screen. So this is the Azure Container Apps Landing Zone Accelerator GitHub repository. And this has been structured in such a way, all the scenarios go under the scenarios folder and all the documents here. And the first scenario that I would like to focus is on the internal environment secure baseline. Here, once you provision this, you will be getting all these core components as part of the architecture. And let's quickly see how we can provision this using this deploy to Azure button, right? So it's a one-click deployment that's going to make our lives easy. So once I click on that, you will be getting the portal experience. And we have given separate tabs focusing on the basic settings, networking, jump off, and deployment features. So as a IT ops person or a platform engineer who is looking into governing the subscription and governing the production-based workloads and other workloads, setting up the infrastructure, I would go into that, click on that link, and then get this portal page and select my subscription. And once I selected my subscription, I go in, select the region, and give a name for my workload and environment name. And if you want your resources to be deployed in a zone redundant manner for high availability scenario, you can set this to true. So that will make sure any resources that is supporting the availability zones, then they will be provisioned in a AZ enabled manner. And if you would like to deploy Azure policies, you can set the flag to true as well. You can give your hub name or the spoke name as well. I'm going to leave it for simplicity. And here are the network settings. You can edit as per your needs. And the jump box, right? So since the container apps will be provisioned in a very secured manner to deploy any apps into that container apps or connect to the container apps environment, you might need to provision a jump box. And we have two different options here, and select the VM size, the right VM size for you. And we also have a set of deployment feature flags as well. So for example, like you said, if your application needs caching, so you might need a Redis cache. Once you set this flag to true, it will be provisioning a Redis cache for you. And for monitoring your application, you can enable your app insights, and you can enable the dapper instrumentation and DDoS protection. Everything is available in a feature flag manner, because it might vary based on your requirements. And if you need an OpenAI instance to be provisioned and then connected in a secured manner, you can set this flag to true as well. So once you set this all your configurations, you hit review and create. I have already provisioned this in interest of time. So what you will see is in the spoke, as you can see here, you get this container apps environment, the container apps, and you can see the managed identities getting provisioned, the key vault we saw, the log analytics, and all the required security, network security groups, and the route table. The route table plays a major role here, so I think I missed that. So for enterprises who wants to monitor all their egress, this route table, you can use it so that it can pass all the traffic to the firewall, which is provisioned in the hub. So that's about the provisioning the Azure Container Apps in landing zones, enterprise scale landing zone setup. So once you have done that, the second step will be to provision the, deploy the your containers. For the jobs, we have given some sample applications here, the one for .NET and one for Java. I would quickly showcase the jobs-based sample application, where we have provided the prerequisites and what are all the configurations you need to set up, and the step-by-step deployment guidance for deploying the jobs implementation. Like I showed you in the jobs reference architecture, in this landing zone accelerator, we have provisioning 3 different jobs, and you can see based on the trigger type, your jobs will be provisioned. And once to start your deployment, all you need to do is log into your jump box that you have provisioned, and then start running these commands. And once you need to build your container images, push it to the registry, and the final step will be deploying it. Right. So once that deployment gets completed, you will see these 3 different jobs getting deployed. And to trigger that, all you need to do is it starts with the scheduler job. So, you can just hit the run now, and then you can see how it runs. So this is about the landing zone accelerator I wanted to share with you all, which will help you with provisioning the Azure Container Apps in a secured and scalable manner. And so go call. I would like to hear your feedback. Go and clone our repository and give it a try, and share your feedback if you have any share your feedback via the issues, and don't forget to share or fork and uh, keep your containers getting deployed faster and in a secured manner.